his older brother died, and then we learned while we were recording. We are.
That's fine.
A few moments later.
Do you want to tell the viewers what happened in the book?
This one?
Died.
It's in his kids.
Yeah.
Well, they were looking for a treasure map.
Oh.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it was basically a playing card that somebody, a scientist, had sketched a map out on of this caverns that they were trying to find. So once they found the caverns, you know, they were trying to find the card. And turns out the guy that had it, he was captured.
Yeah.
And they went to go get him back. And when they went to go get him back, he was tied up. And they're like, "Where's the map?" And he's like, "Don't worry, I hid it. Kiss me." And he slips the playing card into her mouth. It's in his kiss.
That's gonna be in there.
It's in his kiss.
It's in his kiss. All right, you ready?
Yeah, you got
ready? Ready? Gareth, Hyacinth, Violet, Lady Danbury. I'm just remember their names. I'm trying to remember their names. Sometimes I forget.
That's okay.
There's Isabella. Hello everyone, welcome back to We Know What You Like. Lucia here.
Katie.
And today we are finally doing book number 7 of the Bridgerton series. It's in His Kiss. Ooh, by Julia Quinn. Yeah. You read this book way before I did.
I did. I read it almost 2 months ago.
And I read it almost 3 weeks ago. We would have done this book review sooner, but my broke ass was broke and I couldn't, afford Uber. So when I eventually do Patreon for the channel, please support so that way I can Uber from her house to my house and we can do these videos faster. I'm not joking. But also, welcome back to the channel.
Whoa.
In His Kiss. As the stereotypical question to start us off, did you enjoy this book?
I did enjoy this book. Did you enjoy this book?
I did, in fact, enjoy this book. Next time I'll bring in the little light thing that my dad brought us.
Yeah. Or
bought me for the whatever. It's going to say, we know what you like, be flashing. And then, the colors will represent how we feel about what we read.
I like it.
It can be fun, yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it's in His Kiss. Who are the stars of this book?
Hyacinth.
Uh-huh.
And Gareth St. Clair.
Yes, Hyacinth.
The more you say it, the more it sounds like a not real word.
Right. So what is it, a flower, right?
Yeah.
I remember when we first started this, you said you liked her name.
I do like her name. Casey won't let me name our kids that, though. So.
I remember in the reactions too, you were like...
What are you blaming me for?
You won't let me name our daughter Hyacinth.
For those who are wondering, she's not pregnant.
I'm not.
But just in the future.
I don't remember saying no, so...
You definitely said no.
It couldn't have been for a good reason.
But yes, this book stars Hyacinth... Lucia! Hyacinth Bridgerton, aka the youngest child of Violet, and her husband, rest in peace him, whose name I don't remember. So also rest in peace my memory because I don't remember his name.
It's fine.
Yeah, but they are the stars of this book, In His Kiss. And we learn from the very beginning, the book actually starts 10 years prior to the main story, the main meat of it all. And it starts with Gareth at a young age of, I think it was 28? No, 18. No, 18, about 18.
18 sounds right. Because he was at school, yeah.
Yes, he was at school, and he was having a good time. He was a jokester of the group. He was I wouldn't say womanizer, but, he was a good-looking lad. When the ladies loved him. So, maybe a womanizer. But also, not. But anyways, we learn that his father, St. Clair, hates him.
Father St. Clair.
If you're wondering what that sound is, Casey, a.k.a. Katie's husband.
It's just going to be a minute.
Why'd you have to call me out?
Oh my gosh.
I was trying to be quiet. I sent a message. I was covert about it. And you blasted me on the camera anyways.
Y'all remember that one episode, that one book review, when Casey was making food and it was all loud? This is quiet in comparison.
God damn it. Was there really a day where
it was so loud, Casey. Do you remember that?
No.
I had to literally make subtitles.
What was I making?
It was really good food. I don't remember though.
You were frying something.
Oh, yeah, sorry. That's really fucking loud.
It was really good though, but I literally had to do subtitles because of how loud it was, so that way it can like you can still read what we're saying.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to the story. We learned that Garrett's father is actually not his father, which is why Garrett's father is like addicted to him. And he's like, haven't you learned all these years? You know, your mother stepped out on me. Why am I making my voice like that? Well, it's 9 o'clock and, you know, I get tired. So when I get tired, I get more jittery. So that's my voice for this character, I guess.
Beautiful.
Yeah, why not? Make my own audiobook. I'll be bad. Maybe it can be fun though.
Bad audiobooks by Lucia.
That could be kind of fun.
On our Patreon, coming soon.
It could be fun.
It could
Oh
be
my
fun.
god, all those sex scenes. Oh, no. Sorry. I'm sorry.
That was the sneak preview. Please subscribe.
The connection kind of fun. Imagine Sam.
Oh.
Oh. Anyways, we learned, like I just said, that it's a bastard. You know, your mother stepped out on me, but I still got a safe face, so I'm going to claim you as my own. I'll still send you to school. I'll still do all my fatherly duties, but I'm also going to
Give you a shit ton of trauma.
Yes, because we love a good trauma. We love a good daddy issues, and that is what this one series in particular does well on, daddy issues. But it's different this time because why? Our father is
alive.
Yep, versus all the other books when, you know, daddy's dead. But yeah, good old father Duke. No, he's not a Duke.
No,
Baron. Baron St. Clair. He's like, I'm gonna run you ragged with my insults.
I'll be honest, I don't know what any of those words mean.
Ragged?
No.
Oh.
Like Baron and Duke, like I don't know what the difference is between all of those.
We've actually had this conversation before.
It's fine.
From what I understand, in terms of correctly, because I also only read historical romances and sometimes right after another, and so like I forget shit. But from what I understand, it's like Duke, Viscount, not Viscount like we used to say, but Duke, Viscount, and then it's Baron, and it's like whatever else. Maybe there's another one.
Yeah, but like, what do those mean?
I think it's like who owns the land. Like if you're a Duke of the land, you own more property. Like you have a higher esteem too.
Okay, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. Someone Google it
was a
and let
measure
us
of
know.
your wealth
Yeah,
to a degree.
yeah.
So it was land, it was property.
It was like how much people do you govern and take
But then,
care
like,
of.
why in the show was it such a big deal that they rose the Duke's family to dukedom because he was black? Like,
Well,
how do you-
remember,
They like made him a duke. How do they make him a duke?
They give him property and wealth.
the
He
queen or
basically
king does
inherited
it.
stuff, right?
Ah,
And then when you marry in, you acquire wealth, and by pairing wealthy groups together, you get wealthier
More masses.
groups.
I feel like we should learn more about how other forms of things work in our school system.
Listen, we don't need to get political.
I don't even know how our government works in its entirety, so we're doing fine.
Oh god.
A few moments later.
All right.
Anyways, back to the story. And then after that, Garrett's like, you know what? If my daddy wants to be like this to me, fuck him. I'm gonna be how I want to be. If you want me to be this womanizing person, I will be this person. Fast forward 10 years later, and
Wait,
then,
you skipped over the whole part where he tried to make him marry.
oh yeah,
What's her name?
he's all like, oh yeah, you're gonna have a betrothed, and he's like, you can't make me. He's like, watch me, boy.
He's gonna make him marry the girl who. I don't know how to say it the correct way.
Where?
The whole reason he didn't want to marry her was because she.
Was she ugly?
No, it wasn't that she was ugly. She's developmentally slow.
Ah. Oh, and he felt like he would be taking advantage of her.
Yeah, he didn't
Yes.
want. He felt he was taking advantage of her by marrying her and consummating said marriage because
Yes.
she wasn't able to understand what was going on.
So point in his favor.
Right, and that was the whole reason he got in an argument with his dad.
Yes.
And his dad was like, "Well, you're not even my son,
You know
so
what?
screw you."
Good on you for bringing that up because honestly, at that point, I just remembered that he was supposed to be betrothed and why he
Yeah.
didn't want to remember.
Couldn't marry her; she was like a child.
Yes. So thank you.
Sometimes I remember things.
Also helps that you're like flipping through the book.
Yeah, I am
right
flipping through the book.
now. It'd be like that. I had to do that today on the bus. It was fun, juggling. Anyways, 10 years later, and we read...
We're at the Smith musicale.
Are we?
Yeah, that's where chapter 1 starts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And for those who remember from the last book, was it last book?
I think they go to the Smith musicale in every book. It's an annual tradition.
But I don't remember them bringing it up until like a book ago or 2 books ago.
No, I've definitely read it in every book. It's just never played a big part. But this is where she meets him, right?
Well, they've known each other for years, but then, yes.
Oh, this is when Lady D makes her move so that they sit next to each other.
Yeah, and with the cane.
Yeah!
Yes. Yeah. And then this is also where we learned that Lady Danbury, our favorite from throughout these books in terms of like older people. Violet, I still love you sometimes. But she's actually the grandmother on mother's side to Gareth St. Clair.
It's the only person that's ever liked him in his life. It's how he feels.
Except for his brother, but you know, George is dead.
He is dead. That is a thing.
Which R.I.P. That has to be sad. I don't want my siblings to die.
Listen, this is a happy time. Reading about love.
Love can be very sad.
And treasure.
And treasure. Anyways, yes, they're like both Violet and Lady Danbury are very obvious in their matchmaking, and to the point where
they're
they
very good at matchmaking, though.
I mean,
Let's be
like
honest,
like Violet, Lady
their track
Danbury,
record. Why would you question them anymore?
Like at this point, set me up. You're good, you know.
Like if I had watched 6 of my 7 siblings be married off to a match that my mother and or Lady D had picked, I wouldn't even question what they were saying to me. I'd be like, yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, if Lady Danbury likes this person, you know it's a good person.
Yeah.
And you know, as they all say, Lady Danbury and Hyacinth, they're basically the same person, just, you know, like years apart.
Right.
Therefore...
But also, doesn't Gareth have, like, a bad reputation, and that was why she was like, no, or something like that?
Well, Hyacinth was like, no?
Yeah.
Well, I think at this point...
Because he was like a...
He was not... He liked women.
Yeah. I mean, they've all liked women. That's, like, an ongoing thing here.
I'm like... We were iffy about Benedict in this series, though. But, you know, he could be bi.
You never know.
I still stand by that. Sam thinks he's gay, though. I remember that.
He married a woman. They're very happy together.
In the show series.
Oh.
Because remember with the painter.
I don't think he's bi.
You think Benedict's bi?
I think he was very caught off guard by what he was watching.
Fair. He's like, oh, what is love?
He probably doesn't understand the concept of swingers. That's what was going
That
on
was
there.
really
That's what was going.
But hey, he had a 3-way. I need to rewatch that series.
I've watched it 3 times. I don't think I should watch it again. Okay, so
Okay.
they meet, right?
At the musical.
Yeah, and then what is this? I don't know. They listen to the horrible music.
And they're just getting along. They learn. Oh, this is when they not learn because they've obviously known each other for a while, but just like how compatible, I guess they would say, are with each other in terms of like quick wit and like their jovial sort of like back and forth, and how much they have to be on their toes with each other. Hi, Finn boy. Hi, Sparky.
Are you guys like meeting eyes across the table? Is that what's going on right now?
Is this love?
This is.
Oh,
you gotta.
serendipity.
Oh, only one came back. Hello, sir. All right.
We'll get through this, folks.
3 days later.
Where did I go to work? No.
No, that's what this page says.
Oh. That was good timing.
It was.
What I actually liked talking about 3 days later, let me show the camera real quick. So, note to self, zoom in. It'll be blurry, but zoom in. But this little thing. So, this is obviously a book. It's a novel, and we're reading these characters.
What? We're reading books?
No, we're talking about them.
Oh.
But we haven't gotten to this part yet in our retell. but there's a diary involved, but there's also a book that Hyacinth reads to Lady Danbury, which is like a crack book, I swear.
Right.
But in the book itself, it's like reads like a little story. It's like, all right, now our hero, 5 minutes later,
She
went to take a shit. You know,
Does
they say
that in
that.
this book too?
Which book?
The Gregory's book? Which is why, so I really liked that this was happening because it fit really well with like the story going on, because it was very much like,
This theme.
well, like it's because they're chasing a mystery, right?
Yes.
So it's like it's giving you little blurbs about like what's going
Each
on, like
chapter.
headlines almost, like
Yeah.
this mystery that you're following. And I thought it was really unique to that book.
Okay.
And then I opened this one, which is Gregory's, and it does it too. And I became disappointed.
Well, we haven't really read.
I haven't read past the first like 5 pages, but I remember like opening up to chapter 1 and seeing this.
Stay tuned potentially to next month for that.
So
book
I'm
read.
already disappointed, but we'll see where we go.
I haven't read it in years.
Because I
Literally
thought it
no.
was really unique. Like this one read really differently than the other books.
And it's true.
And part of it was this like headline for the chapters.
Yeah.
Is kind of what
It,
they
it
are.
makes sense. Like this headline, it would also make sense if it was. They kind of did it similar with Penelope.
Yeah.
She's laid a whistle down, so each prompt in the beginning was some sort of headline.
Right,
from
and
her.
it fit. They
That
also
makes sense.
refer to Hyacinth as a hero in all of these.
Mhm.
I enjoy that because it's like she's like just be all like doing something fantastic.
Wait, okay. I want to pause on our talk through of this book, and I just want to do a just in general sort of thing. I enjoyed this book. I'll tell you why exactly. So Hyacinth, this book in general for me felt like what Eloise's book should have been or could have been, because if you look at Eloise as a character, she's supposed to be brash and outgoing and make a lot of decisions that she wants to do, and sort of like a F you to what other people say. And I love that about her. It's why I loved her in the show. It's why I loved her in the books. And then when you finally get to her, Eloise's story, she's like, well, I guess I'm a grown up and I'm going to make decisions. Fair, you have to grow as a person, but it's like completely alters what I thought her book was going to be.
It was very lackluster.
But I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, like I still enjoyed it, but
It was
like
very
now
human.
reading this, I want this to be Eloise's story.
Exactly.
Like I want her to go on this big adventure and use the diary, because like that's something she really like. Writing was her thing, right? So like connecting her to the diary and like using it to go on this big adventure where she's the hero.
Yes.
Feels more like her character
Yes.
than it does Hyacinth.
And when you look at the book, or sorry, the TV show, Eloise, I feel like this is more that character.
Yeah.
And it's like, again, I enjoyed, go back to when we did Eloise's story, it was very human.
Yeah, and I mean, sure, like, up until this point, Hyacinth has been very either too young to have a defined personality or not seen enough.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels like they took Eloise's personality and said, here's
Hyacinth.
Here you go.
And basically, I enjoyed this because it's everything that I wanted for Eloise. And the fact of the matter is, like, kind of brushed it on it earlier, but like Eloise and Gareth, they're so compatible. They're very when they say, strong forces, they kind of go, they do. And then when you look, so I thought about 2 or 3 different books in this series while reading this one. First was Eloise, in terms of the character for Hyacinth, but then I also thought of Benedict and Sophie in terms of like love at first sight, and how like, oh, these 2 characters are so compatible, they're so complete, like in a spiritual level. But I never really truly felt that for Sophie and Benedict. It was like a love at first sight, and I don't truly believe in that.
Yeah.
And then I also thought of Penelope and oh my God, Colin. How dare I?
Colin's name.
I know, how dare I? But then I also thought of Penelope and Colin because they're also known each other for years, and it was like a pining sort of thing. And in this one, they've known each other for years, but there's never sort of pining sort of thing. It was a girl to love each other. in realizing like, hey, I can love this person. It's really easy to love this person.
Right.
So honestly, as I was reading this, I was thinking of those 3 books.
It's very true.
Yeah. So I feel like, in a way, I'm not even going to bring up Gregory's book at this point, because at this point I haven't even opened up the first page.
I'm already disappointed, and all I did was open the first page.
But so I feel at this point, not counting book 8,
Yeah.
but I feel like Julia Quinn got better at storytelling.
I do agree, like this one read very differently and it felt more fun to read.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my disappointment with that being the same way is that I thought this was going to be specific to Hyacinth.
Mm-hmm. But then again, you don't know yet why.
Right, I don't know why the reason is in that one yet.
So we'll
see.
Again, tune back in next month, potentially, for that last final book review on the Bridgerton series.
Potentially.
It all depends if, our schedules and if I have Uber money. Again, Patreon, when that gets up, support me for Uber money, because it's expensive living in California. I'm not even joking, but also thank you in advance. I'm upfront about it.
Oh yeah.
So now that that's out of the way, continuing on with the actual plot of the story, I'm gonna fast forward a bit, to be honest.
Well, I mean, the very next thing is like he
finds the
gets the
diary.
diary.
Okay, perfect.
His sister-in-law brings him the diary, like the next chapter. She's
Okay,
like,
perfect.
"Here you go. I found this in your brother's things. I think you should have it." And he goes, "Oh, cool. Maybe it tells me who my dad is." And it's in Italian, and he's fuck. I can't read Italian.
Let me go to Lady D. Let me go to my grandmother. Maybe
Yeah.
she knows. And then he just goes, and it's like, oh, that happens to be the day that Hyacinth is reading that very trashy novel.
But I kind of also want to read that novel.
I say trashy, not that it's like risque or anything, but in terms of like the what the fuckness of it all.
Yeah.
And now someone, please correct me, but I know the Smiths.
Yeah.
How I told you before, I don't know if you remember, they have their own series.
Yeah.
I am like 86% sure that one of those characters is the writer of that series.
Of Mrs. Butterworth and the Mad Baron.
Yeah.
I just happened to open up the page with the title.
See, I was right.
Yeah.
What did I say earlier? Like Buttercup or some
Something like
shit.
that.
But,
Mrs. Butterworth.
yeah, because I've also read the Smith ones, but it's been literally so long that I forgot some stuff.
Right.
So then, not Hyacinth, what's his name? Garrett was like, can I trust her? Can I trust her in terms of like telling the tales of what this,
pining.
in terms of like wanting to tell Hyacinth what this diary is about. He's like, well, if my grandmother loves her and thinks a great deal about her, and my grandmother is very shrewd character, why not? So yeah, I'm gonna tell her. And so this we have our very
And Hyacinth is like, oh, I can read Italian.
yeah. So we have she knows more Italian than I do.
I mean, I think there are a lot of people in here that knows more Italian than I do.
Do you know anyone that knows Italian?
No.
Me either. So you know what, Hyacinth, you know more Italian than us.
Yeah. And that's how they start to spend time together.
Yes, but then because of that, Daddy St. Clair starts noticing that as well. And as we already talked about, Daddy St. Clair wants to make Garrett's life shit. So he's very prodding and very, you're never gonna marry Carol. Look at you, you're a bastard. Oh no, I did a different voice for him before. It was like, you're never gonna know different. I forgot.
He's just being an asshole. He's always like, they'll never let you marry her.
You're a bastard. You don't even know who your father is. And then
Gareth goes and revenge kisses her.
Because she was there, and like it could have been anyone, to be honest. And then he's like,
I'll show dear old daddy.
By kissing her. And then he's all like, yeah, you don't know how to kiss. We'll teach you that. And then she runs away. Which, pause on the joking, Violet the next day or whatever it was, she can tell that something's wrong with Hyacinth, and so she's like, what's wrong? And then she goes, and I'm obviously paraphrasing, but she's like, in my heart to love, I know that I am the way I am, but is it okay that I am? And then Violet's like, of all my children, I think I let you be who you are more, because I didn't want you to basically have your light go out, so to speak.
Right.
And it's okay to be who you are. But then you also had like kind of like a retrospectiveness from Hyacinth, like, hey, is something wrong with me, sort of thing? Should I not be this way? And then Violet's like, no. It's because of the way you are that I laughed at you when you were born. Like, because remember, everyone, Violet's husband died before Hyacinth's born, so this was the first time that she had to go about with a new baby without her husband to support her. And obviously, you know, they had the other children and stuff, but, you know, she had a very brand new baby.
Yeah.
And so she was in this deep pit of loneliness, and it was through Hyacinth that she, in Violet's words, you saved me. Mm-hmm. And I love that part. So I joking aside, I wanted to bring attention to that particular moment because I actually loved it.
It was a good part, yeah.
Yeah, so, and then, fast forward a couple days, back to joking, back a couple days, and, forgot his name again.
Gareth.
I was gonna say Gregory.
Greg, that's the brother.
That's the brother. Gareth was like...
The brother who actually, like, there were some moments where Gregory is like, no. They were very funny.
I love the pause, but like when he comes to visit them and they're having tea,
Yeah.
and Gregory's like, hey sis, it's your special friend, and she goes, that's not my special friend, and Gareth goes, oh, I'm hurt.
There were some fun moments.
They're very bouncy, and that is what I loved about Gareth, because as we all know, Gareth and both Eloise, you see how much I wanted this for, Eloise? Instead, she got a stick of the mud botanist.
Yeah,
Nothing
but
wrong.
his kids are fun.
Nothing wrong with a botanist. Nothing wrong with being a stick in the mud. But when you're both of them at the same time and you're having to be Eloise's husband, that is what is wrong.
I brought you this dog.
He is not a botanist or a stick in the mud.
Nobody likes dinosaurs.
I got dinosaur socks on.
I love it.
Yeah.
Alright.
Anyways, go back. Not telling you that, boy. And he's like, oh yeah, I gotta apologize. So then he's like going back and forth in front of her house. And then she finally opens the door. She's like, are you gonna come in or not? And he's like, oh, I apologize. You know, this and that. She's like, fine, whatever. I found this really big secret in the diary. And it's about treasure. We need to go to your house, like right now, to go and find it. Because I think I know where they are. And he's like... Oh! What is that one? The one My Chemical... She's not a teenager, but the one My Chemical Romance goes, teenagers stare the shit out of me.
Right.
Because
He's like, no, I'm not doing that.
And she's like, bet. And he's like, bet. She won.
She did win.
She did. She went, and then she like changed into Gregory's clothes, and he's like, damn it, I gotta see her outlines in these clothes now, and I'm like getting all frisky. He's like, ugh, sort of thing. And then so they go to the house, the jury isn't there, and then you know who is there? Oh, Daddy Dearest, and of course, Hyacinth is in hiding at this point in the story. Yes, I'm driving around. It'd be like that sometimes. And then she gets to hear firsthand what good old Daddy Dearest gets to hear or is saying about his son. And at this point, she doesn't know that, you know, that's not his father. So she gets to hear, like, hey, you whatever he says to Gareth. I have to pause to remember his name again. I'm sorry. And then, you know, the dad pisses off, and then she says to him, which I love, it goes, when I was younger, I used to picture myself with a father, mostly because he would take my side, even if I knew that I was in the wrong, but I don't need a father if that's how it's going to be, basically, paraphrasing. And then he just, like, stares at her, and, like, kind of, like, taking her in, kind of, like, in portions, like this is who she is, this is why she is, and he understands her completely. And maybe it's because he's older than her, and I would say that Gareth is kind of jaded.
Yeah, a little bit.
And he hides that with the fun lovingness of himself, but he's very people observant, and you can see that plainly with Hyacinth.
Right.
And so this becomes the real kiss. You know, this is when they finally kiss. And then he's like, you know what, I can see myself marrying her. He's like, you know what, why not? Why not marry?
Mhm.
And then, excuse me, and he's like, yeah, I'd also put a sticker to my dad. Fuck him. But also I'll marry her, right?
He told me I can't do it, so I'm gonna do it.
You know, that'll show him I'll win. And then of course, you know, fast forward a little bit, but when he asks, once he decides to marry her, he goes to our good old friend Anthony, and Anthony is like, thank you, God.
Somebody wants her. Thank the Lord.
And then he goes, Anthony asks him, so you're not going to like mend fences with your dad, right? He's like, nope. And he like looks him squarely in the eye and kind of just reads him in silent for a moment. He's like, that's okay. You'll have a lot of family with us. I loved that though.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
And then he goes straight to Lady Danbury's and he's like, you want to marry me? And Lady Danbury's like, yeah, she does.
I love Lady Danbury.
She's absolutely the greatest.
She reminds me a little bit of my grandma.
You remember you saying that in her reaction. And I was like, ooh, does that mean she's scary? And you're like, no, more like she's a feisty woman and says what she wants.
She was a little scary. She got fired from most of her jobs because she made the people around her terrified.
I mean, they just gotta not be pansies, right?
She put her hands on a lot of coworkers.
Like slap them.
Yeah.
That grandma?
Yeah.
That sweet old looking lady.
Yeah, that's her. She slapped a teenager.
She did.
She did. Love you, Nan. You're doing great.
That's the greatest thing I've heard today. Like, I've heard some of that, but not all that whole story. So then, going back to the storyline, Hyacinth eventually's like, we need to go back to the house again. I've learned something. It could be this other thing where the treasure's at. And he's like, fine. And then, once again, stopped by old Daddy Dearest. But this time, she overhears their conversation in a more like ugly way, and then she like takes off and leaves the house. And I was gonna say Gregor again, Lucia, the fuck. Gareth is like upset because this is London at like 2 a.m. or whatever time it is, and he's like, look, what you did, you could have been hurt.
So many things could have happened.
True, true. But then she says to him, why did you marry me? I was like, well, what do you mean? Why did you marry me?
Was it for you or for your dad?
And he's like, psh, psh, no. And then he's like, are you sure everything you say and do is to try to counteract and balance and beat your father? And he's like, Nani?
Like, you're right, but you didn't have to say it like that.
Yeah. But he was right. And then he eventually realizes, like, hey, you're right. What else happened after that? Like, I know what happens after that, but I don't remember if there was, like, a portion afterwards that I forgot.
No, they're still looking for the treasure?
Yes.
Did we even go over the fact that there was treasure involved?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a scavenger hunt. So they find the note the first time they go to the house.
Oh, yes, because it's, like, leading you
Yeah,
elsewhere.
and then it's like, here's the clue to the next little note.
What is this, National Treasure?
Kind of, yeah.
Which I love that movie.
So they go back to the house, like, twice, right?
Mm-hmm. The second time is when she overhears them arguing like outside.
Right, yeah, and that's when she runs off.
Yes. And then he goes back to her place like, what the fuck, you scared me. And she's like, why did you marry me? It's because of your father, sort of thing.
Are they married at that point, though, or are they just engaged?
They're just engaged. Like, why did you want to marry me?
Yeah.
Oh, before he forgets, they did the deed. Oh, that's an important thing that he didn't even talk about. So after he decides that he's going to marry her, he's like, only way to do it, gotta seduce her. Gotta do it. Gotta make sure she's mine in all the ways that count so that she can't say no. Which is funny because in all these books, you're always like, oh, these women are trying to trap the guys into marriage. It's the opposite this time.
Right. No, because the whole time he's afraid she's going to find out
that he's a
bastard. Because he still doesn't know that he actually is still a baron.
Yeah.
I finally found the part in the book where
Oh yeah, and then
Really?
he's like, "Oh, did you run away because you thought I was betrothed to someone else?" She's like, "No, that's not why. I don't really care."
Oh, that's
You
right,
and your
because his
dad."
dad brought up Mary and whatnot.
Yes, and she's like, "No, I don't care about that. It's because at this point she's already in love with him,
Yeah.
and so she's like, oh well, am I just a plaything, a chess piece on your board to trying to beat your father?" He's like, "No." But in terms of like after that, and then them getting back together, I don't remember.
A few moments later.
Mama, just killed a man.
Oh, that's okay. Hyacinth is still mad at him.
Oh, but then she learns the secret, right?
I'm not yet. She's having tea with her mother, and Violet's like, "It's not like you to wait around for somebody else."
Oh.
And that's when Hyacinth goes to him.
She's like, "I love you." Does she say I love you?
I think so, because she then goes to his apartments just as he was about to go to her.
And then they have sex again.
And that's, yeah.
Again. We love a good premarital sex. Is it like it fits them?
Yeah.
Like,
And
can you believe that Louis didn't have
they make
premarital
up,
sex?
and then
That's some bullshit, isn't it?
and then he tells her that that's not his dad.
Yes! Okay. He's like,
We're getting there.
we're getting there. And they're like, okay, can we move up the wedding?
Right, yeah, and then they get married, basically. She's reading Lady D a new book.
Oh yeah, that was inside the Berian's library.
Yeah. And then I think this is when she finds out who his real dad is.
So then,
Oh yeah, because Lady Danbury falls asleep while she's reading to her.
yeah.
So she keeps reading the diary instead.
All right, folks, we're getting somewhere. So,
Juices are flowing.
so basically, after they had a fight, Violet and has a conversation like, "Why are you angry? Why are you waiting? It's not like you to, be pity patter around your heart. Go after what you want." And then she goes to his apartment, and he's about to go to hers, and then they make up, and she says to him, "That's not my father. That's why this is the way it's been." They have sex again. All is well. Love is war. And then next time, Lady Danbury, they're reading. She's like, Lady Danbury falls asleep. So of course, Hyacinth reads the diary instead, and she's like, "Nani? I know who your father is, Monsieur."
And then she runs to his house in the middle of the night because he's supposed to be going back to the house, his dad's house, to look for the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And she runs over there in the middle of the night because she finally figured it out. But he's yelling at her for running the streets of London by herself again.
The usual.
Yeah. And then he goes and confronts his dad and is like, "I know who my dad is. And it was your brother."
Dun dun dun! And then what I love though was because this entire time, one of the things was that what his dad would put over his head was like, "Well, your father didn't even want you. He never wanted you." But then he remembers after he learns that his uncle was actually his father,
Right.
like all the times that his uncle would treat him well, would look at him with lovely eyes,
Yeah.
and this and that. You know what's really funny is that we didn't even bring up the fact that Gareth looks like his dad,
Yeah.
which is why I was like, well, it's easy to forget,
Right.
Well, it's easy to not realize that they're not related because of how much they look alike.
Right.
Because like it was like a nose, right?
Yeah.
Like Gareth's dad like never even like thought like, oh, my
Right.
brother stuck it in my wife.
Yeah, so he stands up to his dad. He's like, "You don't own me." And they don't find the treasure. They decide to give up.
One of my favorite epilogues in this entire book series have been from this series. The first one is Isabella when she's little, and right?
Yeah.
And Isabella, of course, is their daughter, named after his grandmother on the Italian side, and she's just like in the nursery and like lying, is like on the floor in the bathroom, finds a crack and pushes it, and it just crumbles away.
Mm-hmm.
And then she reaches in the little pouch, and then she opens it. She's like,
It's the diamonds.
and she puts it back. And trust me, when I read that, I was like, exactly that noise. And then second epilogue was like years later. And then we have Hyacinth looking for the jewel still, and everyone's like, oh, I guess she's just a little cookie.
She just rearranges the bathroom every 2 months.
You know, they're like, it's fine, it's just how she is. And then, what's her name? Isabella just overhears them. They're like, well, I would have told them about it had I known. It's not like I'm a child who likes to keep secrets, who likes to have things, you know, to themselves. I would have said something. And then, you know what she does? Because at some point over the years, she like takes the jewels from the nursery and puts them in her room. She then puts the things back in the nursery instead of just like handing them over to her parents. Like, hey, I found this, I overheard you. No, she's like, well, now the hardest part is waiting. And
but
it's
then
like,
she finally finds them, and it's
like 5 years later.
Like
Like 5 years later, whatever years it was. And then she's like, not Isabella. Hyacinth's just like, let me check the nursery one more time. And then she's like, oh, was that crack always there?
gasp.
And then she goes, Kevin! And the entire time you see Isabella, not see, but I read that Isabella's just in the other room, just hearing them scream and just smiling. And I'm like,
It was good.
it was good.
Yeah.
It was good. But, anything else to say?
I don't think so.
We basically told you what happened in this book without even really telling you some of our favorite scenes. But that's okay, because honestly, I just generally enjoyed this book.
I did enjoy reading this book.
You were tired, so also. Yeah. Yes. Potentially catch us next month for the last one. Again, Uber is expensive in California. I wish I was lying or joking. And that's where our work goes. I'm about to take an Uber home right now. It's in his kiss. Tune next time for On the Way to the Wedding for Gregory's book.
It's not his wedding though.
Yeah. And the main character is Lucy, right? This was like a thicker boy.
This one is a very thick book. Who is it? Unlike most men of his acquaintance, Gregory Bridgerton believes in true love.
I mean, your brother does.
They all do. It is Lucy though, yeah. Lucy's engaged though, so good luck.
Nani? I'm not engaged. Anyways, everyone, that was It's in His Kiss. Oh, In His Kiss, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's either from the book, the Butterscotch, whatever book that, or in the diary that the Isabella grandmother wrote. That title comes from one of those two books. And at this point, I don't remember which. So, ta-da! Maybe you all who've read the book can tell me. With that being said, this was Lucia.
And Katie.
From We Know What You Like. Suggest us another book to read after this one. It is, of course, Katie's turn next to pick a book or a series that we read next. But give suggestions. We'll take them into account if we feel like reading them. And time. Honestly, time.
Time is a big one, yeah.
We both have very hectic schedules, which is why these only come out hopefully once a month.
Yeah, here's the pile of books I'm currently reading.
This is mine. I guess technically
just sit here.
I don't have any because I haven't started this one yet.
It's fine.
But anyways, bye everyone.
Bye.